Wow, I was not expecting this to drop. I mean, I guess we were. We knew it was coming. They gave us sneaks and whatnot, but I was not expecting to have to make this video. I want to go back to playing Poketopia. Alright, what's going on? I have not done anything Town of Salem 2 related in like 3 months. And honestly, would be happy to go back to Poketopia right now. But Curtis cooked. Tuba cooked. We're gonna talk about this update. I normally do this in game, and you can hear in the background there's a game going. This Kaz and DJ were like, play. But this is Town of Salem 2 patch R.1.5.11, the flexible factions update. Let's talk about it. There's a lot of changes here. There's a lot of changes here. Hi Townies, the Flexible Factions update's now live. This update brings multiple balance changes primarily focused on the Coven faction, the Anomaly modifier, game mode updates, a brand new roll deck mechanic called Flexible Factions. We're Mare in the back. You're not going to see that we're Mare in the back, but we're Mare in the back. Game updates, Flexible Factions. Rolls and roll buckets can now have their starting faction specified in the roll deck. This allows for countless new gameplay scenarios, such as a neutral apocalypse bucket in the Coven or a Hexmaster in the town. So it's taking the fun of Cursed Souls and starting with it without the pain of Cursed Souls. Only flexible rolls and roll buckets can have their factions changed. All rolls, except for neutrals, evils, vampire, are flexible. All roll buckets that do not contain inflexible rolls are flexible. The available flexible factions are Town, Coven, Apocalypse, Vampire, Wandering Soul, and the roll buckets default faction. Investigator died. So you can set the faction whatever you want. New modifiers, Anomaly, Fire logo, by the way. Fire logo here. The Anomaly modifier adds random modifiers and bans at the start of the game. There will always be at least one modifier and one ban. Do you have that? No. Not for here. Additional modifiers or bans added is half as likely as the previous one. So this was like a more tame April where it just spits out a bunch of stuff for like the randoms. Casual. The total number of roll decks in the casual mode rotation has increased from 8 to 10. 2 roll decks are now being rotated every 2 weeks rather than only 1. We have updated almost every existing roll deck. All any. We will be testing a mixture of the Grace Period and Secret Killers modifiers in all any over the next weeks. Based on community feedback and gameplay statistics, either of these modifiers may become permanently part of the mode. They voted guilty on that. A new all-any variant named Anomaly All-Any has been added. This variant uses the new Anomaly modifier. A new all-any variant named Many All-Any has been added. This variant allows you to vote for which existent variant, All-Any Fools, True All-Any, Anomaly All-Any, you would like to play before the game starts. There goes Jester. Coven power rolls are now mutually exclusive, just like Coven killing rolls, meaning there can only be one present per game. Hangover now grants control immunity, so you can't get roll blocked by the poisoner and then controlled, and then roll blocked by the poisoner and controlled. The roll deck UI now features modifiers, factions, and ban headers. The roll deck UI will now resize to fit the screen as much as possible before needing to scroll. Modifiers are now sorted alphabetically in the roll deck. All non-unique rolls are now capped at 15 rather than 6, so we can have 14 pilgrims in one covenant. Ritualist UI has been reworked to use a drop-down menu with a search bar because they needed that badly. Enchanter's UI, I should scroll down. Enchanter's UI has been reworked to use a drop-down menu with a search bar because Enchanter definitely needed that because it took too long to find everything. The role reveal screen has received visual improvement. Yes. Maybe. I can't tell right now. Why did the Vigilante shoot the Socialite? Vigilante shot, I think, Kaz. The Plague Bearer died. There's a Plague Bearer thing coming up. The Town Trader now has a status effect icon. Common buckets can no longer spawn town or outliers. Added various new lobby icons. Ranked. We will be moving away from seasonal ranked plus content update structures soon. This means there will be no Season 6 content update, but instead there will be titled content such as the Flexible Factions update. The ranked mode will move to an independent ranked season schedule starting with ranked Season 6. Every 4 to 6 weeks to be determined. Ranked progress will reset, and the mode will move on to the next ranked season. There will be other changes made to the mode and progression alongside these. Stay tuned. Role updates. This is where things get interesting. Coven Leader role rename. With the introduction of flexible factions, the Coven Leader can now start on any faction. Due to this, we have deemed that the current name is no longer suitable and have renamed it to the Archmage. You know, it'd be weird for the Coven Leader to be Town. Archmage now has infinite retrains. Infinite retrain. However, Archmage can now only retrain other faction members into common Coven roles. They can still retrain themselves into any valid Coven role, so you can't take a Conjure and switch it to Ritualist, and then switch it back to Conjure. Archmage's defense has been removed. I need to talk with Dragon. Voodoo Master rework. Voodoo Master now has 3 abilities at night. Voodoo Master wasn't busted before. To choose between Silence, Deafen, and Blind. Silencing a player will prevent them from talking or whispering during the following day. A silenced player will only be able to vote once per trial and will not be able to switch or cancel their vote. Deafen a player is Banshee. Blinding a player will prevent them from seeing anything that happened to them that night or their role's results. I'm trying to think. There's synergy with the Poisoner. You know, you could blind and roll block. You could blind and roll block. I think that's a play. I'm trying to think what else would be useful. I'm surely there's others, like You attack and get healed? You just wouldn't know that you got attacked. Or healed. You cannot target the same player 2 nights in a row regardless of what ability you use. That's fancy UI. Illusionist rework. Illusions will no longer hide players from bodyguard, trapper, or deputy. Okay. New passive ability. Illusionists can now select a role in faction to appear as on death through their last will. So they get to forge themselves, which is quite interesting. New Phantasma ability. Illusionists can cast an illusion over every member of their faction that night. This excludes town traders. The ability has 1 charge. They took the idea of mass hysteria and made it less busted. The idea of click something, it does something really cool. I like that. 3 is Jinx. I have to get this Jinx. Please hold. Berserker rework. Also cool logo for Illusion. Berserker rework. Berserker may now attack every night after night 1. Fair. Berserker now starts with a basic attack. Fair. Berserker's first kill will now upgrade their attacks to powerful. Enchanter. Enchanter alter ability now allows them to select a faction to appear on death. Plague Bearer buff. I told you we are going to talk about Plague Bearer. Plague Bearer's neighbors now start the game infected. Check that out. The nearest neighbors are the 2 players with houses next to you. That is a buff. I would be interested to see how that works. Medusa buff. Medusa will now start the game stoned. Witch nerf. Witch now grants hangover instead of control immunity. And you can't control someone who's hungover. Which makes sense. It's kind of, it's making some unannoying things less annoying. Flexible factions role changes. Vampire. With flexible factions, Vampire will lose a conversion charge for every player who starts on the Vampire faction. Example, there's a Vampire Jailer at the start of the game. The Vampire will have 2 conversion charges rather than 3. Enchanter. Enchanter will now frame other players as their current faction. Same with Soul Collector. Ritualists can now target all roles regardless of their faction. Every neutral killing and neutral apocalypse role can now wield the Necronomicon when on the Coven faction. Serial Killer requires the book to attack and will permanently remain cautious without it. Like that. Shroud requires the book to attack or shroud. Werewolf can now deal a basic attack with the book on non-full moon nights. Werewolf requires the book to rampage on full moon night. Arsonist can now deal a basic attack with the book. Arsonist can now deal a basic attack with the book? Arsonist requires the book to ignite, but can still douse players without it. Plague Bear with the book now deals a basic attack to their target alongside infecting them. Berserker requires the book to attack. Berserker can attack on nights with night 1 with the book if grace period is inactive. Baker can now deal a basic attack with the book. The baker's going to throw bread at you. Soul Collector with the book will now deal a basic attack to the target alongside reaping them. Will no longer be astral with the book. That makes sense. Transformed horsemen do not require the Necronomicon. That's also fair too. Bug fixes. Dual buckets will now correctly display both roll bucket icons instead of showing an investigator icon. Fixed visual bug with Retributionist Necromancer using hidden and stoned rolls. That was a visual bug. I know what that is. That wasn't a real thing. Fixed multiple Wandering Soul faction members not leaving town when the last cursed soul dies via a day kill. Fixed non-all astral attacks ignoring bodyguard and trapper. Oh my gosh. Fixed cursed souls not 100% swapping with the target when not on the town or wandering souls faction. Keep in mind the cursed soul will swap with a random target instead of the following conditions are met. The target you're trying to swap with is unswappable. Another cursed soul has swapped with your target already. Fixed Retributionist and Necromancer not being able to use the Catalyst. Fixed Retributionist not being able to use evil rolls that they were... Not the town faction. They were on the town faction. Fixed Berserker Rampage ignoring rollblocks. Fixed using Smog on Hexmaster not working properly. Fixed Trickster failing to unleash an attack absorbed from another town member on the Coven faction. Fixed Jailer attack being pseudo unstoppable. Fixed Cultist Indoctrine UI not working on the hotbar and mobile. Fixed Werewolf will now rampage at home if witched into themselves. I like that. Fixed Admire not getting notified if there's no valid obsessions available. That's good. Fixed a bug where multiple people heal bodyguard where counterattacking an attacker, only one of them gets notified. That is actually huge. I've ran into that before. Fixed Crusader not getting notified if their target was attacked when saving a bodyguard that was counterattacked by an attacker. That's also great. Fixed a bug causing dead players to go up to trial post-prosecutions. I've seen that happen before. Fixed a bug related to win game as X roll Y times achievements. Those achievements now grant retroactively. You'll have to win one more game with that roll for the game to miss the achievement. Okay. Fixed mobile players list UI shifting out of bounds. Fixed Retributionist not getting info that a trap is built or information of visitors. Okay. Fixed Witch not stealing results from Trapper. I remember seeing that. The Necro passing menu will no longer visually reset votes in between phases. I've seen that before. Serial Killer Bloodlust message will now show their target's name instead of the target percent. Plague Bearer will now appear infected to their teammates at the start of the game. Jester can no longer increment their chat box during a short window before their last words on trial. Perfect Town is now based on faction rather than role alignment. Dreamweaver is now based on faction instead of role alignment. Fixed username changes reverting. All right. That's a lot. I think we need to sit down. First, we are going to have to do another tier list, but I think we need to sit down with Dragon and just talk about everything. I think that is our best choice of response. Saying. Just saying. But a lot of stuff in this update. A lot of good things in this update. It'll take a bit to pick it apart. Not that this week is a good week to pick it apart. That is all for me. I hope you enjoy. There will be some other videos eventually. I still got a stockpile to get through. Take care.